Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read Ezekiel 19 to 24, Proverbs 21, and Psalm 28. Let's get started. And you, take up a lamentation for the princes of Israel, and say, What was your mother? A lioness. Among lions she crouched. In the midst of young lions she reared her cubs, and she brought up one of her cubs. She became a young lion, and he learned to catch prey. He devoured men. The nations heard about him. He was caught in their pit, and they brought him with looks to the land of Egypt. When she saw that she waited in vain, that her hope was lost, she took another of her cubs, and made him a young lion. He prowled along among the lions, and he became a young lion. And he learned to catch prey. He devoured men and seized their widows. He laid waste their cities, and the land was appalled, and all who were in it, and the sound of his roar. And then the nations set against him from provinces on every side. They spread their net over him. He was taken in their pit. With hooks they put him in a cage, and brought him to the king of Babylon. They brought him into custody, that his voice should no more be heard on the mountains of Israel. Your mother was like a vine in a vineyard, planted by the water, fruitful and full of branches by season of abundant water. Its strong stems became rulers' scepters. It towered aloft among the thick boughs. It was seen in the height with the mass of its branches. The vine was plucked up in fury. It cast down to the ground. The east wind dried up its fruit. They were stripped off and withered. As for its strong stem, fire consumed it. Now it is planted in the wilderness, in a dry and thirsty land, and fire has gone out from the stem of its shoots, and has consumed its fruit, so that there remains in it no strong stem, no scepter for ruling. This is a lamentation, and has become a lamentation. In the 7th year, in the 5th month, on the 10th day of the month, certain of the elders of Israel came to inquire of the Lord, and sat before me. And the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, speak to the elders of Israel, and say to them, Thus says the Lord God, is it to inquire of me that you come? As it lives, declares the Lord God, I will not be inquired of by you. Will you judge them, son of man? You judge them. Let them know the abominations of their father, and say to them, Thus says the Lord God, on the day when I chose Israel, I swore to the offspring of the house of Judah, making myself known to them in the land of Egypt. I swore to them, saying, I am the Lord God. On that day I swore to them that I would bring them out of the land of Egypt into a land that I searched out for them, a land flowing with milk and honey, the most glorious of all lands. And I said to them, Pass away the detestable things your eyes feast on, every one of you, and do not defile yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. But they rebelled against me and were not willing to listen to me. None of them cast away the detestable things their eyes feasted on, nor did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour my wrath upon them and spare my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. But I acted for the sake of my name, that it should not be profaned in the sight of the nations among whom they lived, in whose sight I made myself known to them, in bringing them out of the land of Egypt. So I led them out of the land of Egypt, and brought them into the wilderness. I gave them my statutes, and made known to them my rules, by which, if a person does them, he shall live. Moreover, I gave them my Sabbaths as a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord who sanctifies. But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They do not walk in my statutes, but rejected my rules, by which if a person does them, he shall live. And my Sabbaths they greatly profaned. Then I said, I will pour out my wrath upon them in the wilderness, to make a full end of them. And I acted for the sake of my name, that it should not be profaned in the sight of the nations, in whose sight I had brought them out. Moreover, I swore to them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land that I had given them, a land flowing with milk and honey, the most glorious of all lands, because they rejected my rules and did not walk in my statutes, and profaned my Sabbaths, for their heart went after their idols. Nevertheless, my eye spared them, and I did not destroy them or make a full end of them in their wilderness. And I said to their children in the wilderness, Do not walk in the statutes of your fathers, nor keep their rules, nor defile yourselves with their idols. I am the Lord your God. Walk in my statutes, and be careful to obey my rules, and keep my Sabbaths holy, that they may be a sign between me and you, and that you may know that I am the Lord your God. But the children rebelled against me. They did not walk in my statutes, and were not careful to obey my rules, by which, if a person does them, he shall live. They profaned my Sabbaths. And I said, I will pour out my wrath upon them, and spare my anger against them in the wilderness. And I withheld my hand, and acted for the sake of my name, that it should not be profaned in the sight of the nations, in whose sight I had brought them in. Moreover, I swore to them in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the nations, and disperse them through the countries, because they had not obeyed my rules, and had rejected my statutes, and profaned my Sabbaths, and their eyes were set on their father's idol. Moreover, I gave them statutes that were not rules by which they could not have life, and I defiled them through their very gifts, and their offering all their firstborn, that I might devastate them. I did it that they might know that I am the Lord. Therefore, son of man, speak to the house of Israel, and say to them, Thus says the Lord God, in this also your fathers blasphemed me, by dealing treacherously with me. For when I had brought them into the land that I swore to give them, then whenever they saw any high hill, or any leafy tree. There they offered their sacrifices, and there they presented the provocation of their offering. There they sent up their pleasing aromas, and there they poured out their drink offerings. Therefore say to the house of Israel, thus says the Lord God, will you fulfill yourselves after the manner of your fathers, and go whoring after their detestable things? And you present your gifts, and offer up your children in fire. You defile yourselves with all your idols to this day. And shall I be inquired of you, O house of Israel? As I live, declares the Lord God, I will not be inquired of by you. What is in your mind shall never happen. The thought, let us be like the nations, like the tribes of the countries, and worship wood and stone. As I live, declares the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and with wrath poured out, I will be king over you. And I will bring you out from the peoples, and gather you out of the countries where you were scattered, with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and with wrath poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the peoples, and there I will enter into judgment with you face to face. And as I entered into judgment with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so I will enter into judgment with you, declares the Lord God. I will make you pass under the roof, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. I will purge out the rebels from among you, and those who transgress against me. I will bring them out of the land where they sojourn, but they shall not enter the land of Israel. And you will know that I am the Lord. As for you, O house of Israel, thus says the Lord God, to go serve every one of you his idols, now and hereafter, if you will not listen to me. But my holy name you shall no more profane with your gifts and your idols. For on my holy mountain, the mountain height of Israel, declares the Lord God, there all the house of Israel, all of them, shall serve me in the land. There I will accept them, and there I will require your contributions and the choicest of your gifts, with all your sacred offerings. As a pleasing aroma I will accept you, when I bring you out from your peoples to gather you out of the countries where you have been scattered. And will manifest my holiness among you in the sight of the nations. And you shall know that I am the Lord, when I bring you into the land of Israel, the country that I swore to give to your fathers. And there you shall remember your ways and all your deeds with which you have defiled yourselves. And you shall loathe yourselves for all the evils that you have committed. And you shall know that I am the Lord, when I deal with you for my name's sake, not according to your evil ways, nor according to your corrupt deeds, O house of Israel, declares the Lord God. And the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face toward the southland. Preach against the south, and prophesy against the forest land in the Negev. Say to the forest of the Negev, hear the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord God, behold, I will kindle a fire in you, and it shall devour every green tree in you, and every dry tree. The blazing flame shall not be quenched, and all faces from the south and north shall be scorched by it. All flesh shall see that I, the Lord, have kindled it. It shall not be quenched. Then I said, Lord God, they are saying of me, is he not a maker of parables? And the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face toward Jerusalem, and preach against the sanctuaries. Prophesy against the land of Israel, and say to the land of Israel, thus says the Lord, behold, I am against you, and will draw my sword from its sheath, and will cut off from you both righteous and wicked. Because I will cut off from you both righteous and wicked, therefore my sword shall be drawn from its sheath against all flesh, from south to north. And all flesh shall know that I am the Lord. And I have drawn my sword from its sheath. It shall not be sheathed again. As for you, son of man, groan with breaking heart and bitter grief, groan before their eyes. And when they say to you, why do you groan? You shall say, because of the news that is coming. And every heart will melt, and all hands will be feeble, every spirit will faint, and all knees will be weak as water. Behold, it is coming, and it will be fulfilled, declares the Lord God. And the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus says the Lord, say, a sword is sharpened, and no so polished, sharpened for slaughter, polished to flash like lightning. Or shall we rejoice? You despise the rod, my son, with everything of wood. So the sword is to be given to be polished, and it may be grasped in the hand. It is sharpened, and polished to be given into the hand of the slayer. Cry out and wail, son of man, for it is against my people, it is against all the princes of Israel. They are delivered over to the sword of my people. Strike therefore upon your thigh, for it will not be a testing. What could it do if you despise the rod, declares the Lord God. As for you, son of man, prophesy, clap your hands and let the sword come down twice, yes, 3 times. The sword for those to be slain. It is the sword for the great slaughter, which surrounds them, that their hearts may melt and may stumble. And all their gates I have given the glittering sword. It is made like lightning. It is taken out for slaughter. Cut sharply to the right. Set yourself to the left. Wherever your face is directed, I also will clap my hands, and I will satisfy my fear. I, the Lord, have spoken. And the word of the Lord came to me again. And as for you, son of man, mark 2 ways, and for the sword of the king of Babylon to come. Both of them shall come from the same land, and make a sign for us, making at the head of the way to a city. Mark a way for the sword to come to Rabbah of the Ammonites, into Jerusalem the fortified. And the king of Babylon stands at the parting of the way, at the head of the 2 ways, to use divination. He shakes the arrow, he consults the territory, he looks up the look. Into his right hand comes the divination for Jerusalem, to set battering rams, to open the mouth with mouth, to lift up the voice with shouting, to set battering rams against the gates, to cast up mouths, to build siege towers. but to them it will seem like false divination. They have sworn solemn oaths, but he burns their guilt to remembrance, that they may be taken. Therefore thus says the Lord, because you have made your guilt to be remembered, that your transgressions are uncovered, so that in all your deeds your sins appear. Because you have come to remembrance, you shall be taken in hand, and you are profane among the prince of Israel, whose days come, the time of your final punishment. Thus says the Lord, remove the turban and take off the crown. They shall not remain as they are. Exalt that which is low, and bring low that which is exalted. Ruin, I'll make it. Yet so it shall not be until he comes for the one to whom judgment belongs, and I'll give it to him. And you, son of man, prophesy and say, thus says the Lord God concerning the Ammonites and concerning the whole approach. Say, a sword is drawn for the slaughter. It is polished to consume and to flash like lightning. While they see for you false visions, while they divine lies for you, to place it on the necks of the profane wicked, whose days come, the time of their final punishment. Return it to his shed, in the place where you were created, in the land of your origin, I will judge you, and I will pour out my indignation upon you. I will blow upon you with the fire of my wrath, and I will deliver you into the hands of brutish men, skillful to destroy. You shall be fuel for the fire, your blood shall be in the midst of the earth. You shall no more be remembered, but I, the Lord, has spoken. And the word of the Lord came to me, saying, then you, son of man, will you judge the bloody city, and declare to her all her abominations. You shall say, thus says the Lord, the sea that sheds blood in the mist, so that her time may come, and that makes idols to fill herself. You have become guilty by the blood that you have shed, and filled by the idols that you have made, and you have brought your days near. The appointed time of your years has come. If you have approached to the nations, and a mockery to all the countries, those who are near and those who are far from you will mock you. Your name is defiled, you are full of tumult. Behold, the princes of Israel are in you, every one according to his power, have been bent on shedding blood. Father and mother are treated with contempt in you. The sojourner suffers extortion in your midst. The fatherless and the widow are wronged in you. You have despised my holy things and profaned my Sabbaths. There are men in you who slander to shed blood, and people in you who eat on the mountains. They commit lewdness in your midst. In you men uncover their father's nakedness. In you they violate women who are unclean in their menstrual impurity. One who commits abomination with his neighbor's wife, another lewdly defies his daughter-in-law. Another in you violates his sister, his father's daughter. In you they take bribes to shed blood. You have taken interest and profit to make gain of your neighbors by extortion. But me you have forgotten, declares the Lord God. And I strike my hand at the dishonest gain that you have made, and at the blood that has been in your midst. Can your courage endure, or can your hands be strong? In the days that I shall deal with you, I, the Lord, have spoken, and I will do it. I'll scatter you among the nations, and disperse you through the country. And I will consume your uncleanness out of you, and you shall be profaned by your own doing in the sight of the nations. And you shall know that I am the Lord. And the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, the house of Israel has become dross to me. All of them are bronze and tin and iron and lead in the furnace. They are dross of silver. Therefore thus says the Lord God, because you have all become dross, therefore behold, I'll gather you into the midst of Jerusalem. As one gathers silver and bronze and iron and lead and tin into a furnace, to blow the fire on it in order to melt it, so I'll gather you in my anger and in my wrath, and I'll put you in and melt you. I'll gather you and blow on you with the fire of my wrath, and you shall be melted in the midst of it. As silver is melted in a furnace, so you shall be melted in the midst of it. And you shall know that I am the Lord. And I have poured out my wrath upon you. And the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, say to her, you are a land that is not cleansed or rained upon in the day of indignation. The conspiracy of her prophets in the midst is like a roaring lion tearing the prey. They have devoured men. They have devoured human lives. They have taken treasure and precious things. They have made many widows in their midst. Their priests have done violence to my law and have profaned my holy things. They have made no distinction between the holy and the common. Neither have they taught the difference between the unclean and the clean. And they have disregarded my Sabbath, so that I am profaned among them. Their princes in the midst are like wolves tearing the prey, shedding blood, destroying lives to get what dishonest gain. And their prophets have smeared whitewash for them, seeing false visions and divining lies for them, saying, thus says the Lord, when the Lord has not spoken, the people of the land have practiced extortion and committed robbery. and I have oppressed the poor and needy, and I have extorted from the sojourner without justice. And I sought for a man among them who should build up the wall and stand in the breach before me for the land, and I should not destroy. But I found none. Therefore I have poured out my indignation upon them. I have consumed them with the fire of my wrath. I have returned their way upon their heads, declares the Lord God. Word of the Lord came to me, son of man. There were two women, the daughters of one mother. They played the whore in Egypt. They played the whore in their youth. There their breasts were pressed, and their virgin bosoms handled. Aholah was the name of the elder, and Aholibah the name of her sister. They became mine, and they bore sons and daughters. As for their names, Aholah is Samaria, and Aholibah is Jerusalem. Aholah played the whore while she was mine, and she lusted after her lovers, the Assyrians, warriors clothed in purple, governors and commanders, all of them desirable young men, horsemen riding on horses. She bestowed her whoring upon them, the choicest men of Assyria, all of them, and she defiled herself with all the idols of everyone after whom she lusted. She did not give up her whoring that she had begun in Egypt, for when her young men had lain with her and handled her virgin bosom, and poured out their whoring lust upon her. Therefore I delivered her into the hands of her lovers, into the hands of the Assyrians, after whom she lusted. These uncovered her nakedness. They seized her sons and her daughters, and as for her, they killed her with a sword, and she became a byword among women. When judgment had executed on her, her sister Aholibah saw this, and she became more corrupt than her sister, in her lust and in her whoring, which was worse than that of her sister. She lusted after the Assyrians, governors and commanders, warriors clothed in full armor, horsemen riding on horses, all of them desirable young men. And I saw that she was defiled. They both took the same way, but she carried her whoring further. She saw men portrayed on the wall, the images of the Chaldeans portrayed in vermilion, wearing belts on their waists, with flowing turbans on their heads, all of them having the appearance of officers, a likeness of Babylonians whose native land was Chaldea. When she saw them, she lusted after them and sent messengers to them in Chaldea. And the Babylonians came to her into her bed of love, and they defiled her with a whoring lust. And after she was defiled by them, she turned from them in disgust. And then she carried on her whoring so openly and flaunted her nakedness. I turned in disgust from her, as I had turned in disgust from his sister. Yet she increased her whoring, remembering the days of her youth, when she played like the whore in the land of Egypt, and lusted after her lovers there, whose members were like those of donkeys, and whose issue was like that of horses. Thus you longed for the lewdness of your youth, when the Egyptians handled your bosom and pressed your young breasts. Therefore, O Aholibah, thus says the Lord God, behold, I will stir her up against you, your lovers from whom you turned in disgust, and I will bring them against you from every side, the Babylonians and all the Chaldeans, and Pekon and Shoa and Koa, and all the Assyrians with them, desirable young men, governors and commanders, all of them, officers and men of renown, all of them riding on horses. And they shall come against you from the north with chariots and wagons and a host of people. They shall set themselves against you on every side with buckler, shield, and helmet, and I will commit the judgment to you, and they shall judge you according to their judgments. And I will direct my jealousy against you, that they may deal with you in fury. They shall cut off your nose and your ears, and your survivors shall fall by the sword. They shall seize your sons and your daughters, and your survivors shall be devoured by fire. They shall also strip you of your clothes and take away your beautiful jewels. And thus I will put an end to your lewdness and your whoring begun in the land of Egypt, so that you shall not lift up your eyes to them or remember Egypt anymore. For thus says the Lord, behold, I will deliver you into the hands of those whom you hate, into the hands of those from whom you turned in disgust. They shall deal with you in hatred and take away the fruit of your labor, and leave you naked and bare. And the nakedness of your whoring shall be uncovered. Your lewdness and your whoring have brought this upon you, because you played the whoring with the nations and defiled yourself with their idols. You have gone the way of your sister. Therefore I will give her cup into your hand. Thus says the Lord God, you shall drink your sister's cup, and that is deep and large, and you shall be laughed at and held in derision. Who contains much. You will be filled with drunkenness and sorrow, a cup of honor, horror, and desolation, the cup of your sister Samaria. You shall drink it and drain it, and gnaw its shards, and tear your breasts. For I have spoken, declares the Lord God. Therefore thus says the Lord God, because you have forgotten me and cast me behind your back, you yourself must bear the consequences of your lewdness and whoring. Your Lord said to me, Son of man, will you judge Aholah and Aholibah? Declare to them their abominations, for they have committed adultery, and blood is on their hands. With their idols they have committed adultery, and they have even offered up to them for food the children whom they had borne to me. And moreover, this they have done to me. They have defiled my sanctuary on the same day, and profaned my Sabbaths. When they slaughtered their children and sacrificed to their idols, on the same day they came into my sanctuary to profane. And behold, this is what they did in my house. They even sent for men to come from afar, to whom a messenger was sent, and behold, they came. For them you bathed yourself, painted your eyes, and adorned yourself with ornaments. You sat on a stately couch, with a table spread before, on which you placed my incense and my oil. The sound of a carefree multitude was with her, and with men of the common sort. Drunkards were brought from the wilderness, and they put bracelets on the hands of the woman, and beautiful crowns on their heads. And then I said of her who was worn out by adultery, now they will continue to use her for a whore, even her, for they had gone into her as men go into a prostitute. Thus they went into a hole and to a holy but lewd woman. But righteous men shall pass judgment on them with the sentence of adulteresses, and with the sentence of women who shall shed blood, because they are adulteresses, and blood is on their hands. But thus says the Lord God, bring up a vast host against them, and make them an object of terror and a plunder, and the host shall stone them and cut them down with their swords. They shall kill their sons and their daughters, and burn up their houses. Thus I will put an end to lewdness in the land, and that all women may take warning and not commit lewdness as you have done. And they shall return your lewdness upon you, and you shall bear the penalty for your sinful idolatry. And you shall know that I am the Lord God. In the 9th year, in the 10th month, on the 10th day of the month, the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, write down the name of this day, this very day. The king of Babylon has laid siege to Jerusalem this very day, and utter a parable to the rebellious house and say to them, thus says the Lord God, set it on the pot, set it on, pour in water also, put in it the pieces of meat, and all the good pieces, the high thigh and the shoulder, fill it with choice bones, take the choicest one of the flock, pile the loaves under it, boil it well, seethe those its bones in it. Therefore thus says the Lord God, woe to the bloody city, to the pot whose corrosion is in it, and whose corrosion has not gone out of it. Take out of it piece after piece, without making any choice. For the blood she shed is in her midst. She put it on a bare rock. She did not pour it on the ground to cover it with dust, to rouse up my wrath, or to take vengeance. I have set on the bare rock the blood she has shed, and that it may not be covered. Therefore thus says the Lord God, woe to the bloody city. I also will make them pale grey. Heap on the log, kindle the fire, boil the meat well, mix in the spices, and let the bones be burned up. Then set it empty upon the coals, that it may become hot, and its copper may burn, that its uncleanness may be melted, and its corrosion consumed. She has wearied herself with toil. Its abundant corrosion does not go out of it. Into the fire with its corrosion, on account of your uncleanness, because I would have cleansed you, and you were not cleansed upon your uncleanness. You shall not be cleansed any more, till I have satisfied my fury upon you. And I am the Lord, I have spoken. It shall come to pass, I will do it. I will not go back, I will not spare, I will not relent. According to your ways and your deeds, you will be judged, declares the Lord God. And the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, behold, I am about to take the delight of your eyes away from you out of strife. Yet you shall not mourn or weep, nor shall your tears run down. Sigh, but not aloud, make no mourning for the dead. Bind on your turban, and put your shoes on your feet. Do not cover your lips, nor eat the bread of men. So I spoke to the people in the morning. And at evening my wife died, and on the next morning I did as I was commanded. And the people said to me, will you not tell us what these things mean for us, that you are acting thus? And I said to them, the word of the Lord came to me, say to the house of Israel, thus says the Lord, behold, I will profane my sanctuary, the pride of your power, the delight of your eyes, and the yearning of your soul, and your sons and your daughters whom you left behind shall fall by the sword. And you shall not do as I have done. You shall not cover your lips, nor eat the bread of men. Your turbans shall be on your heads, and your shoes on your feet. And you shall not mourn or weep, but you shall rot away in your iniquity, and groan to one another. Thus shall Ezekiel be to you a son. According to all that he has done, you shall do. When this comes, you will know that I am the Lord God. As for you, son of man, surely on the day when I take from them their stronghold, their joy and glory, the delight of their eyes and their soul's desire, and also their sons and daughters. On that day a fugitive will come to you to report to you the news. On that day your mouth will be open to a fugitive, and you shall speak and be no longer mute. So you will be a sign to them, and they will know that I am the Lord. And the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face toward the Ammonites and prophesy against them. Say to the Ammonites, hear the word of the Lord God. Proverbs 21. A king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he will. Every way of man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the heart. To do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than to sacrifice. Haughty eyes and a proud heart, the lamp of the weak are sin. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. The getting of treasures is a lying tongue. It is a fleeting vapor and a snare of death. The violence of the wicked will sweep them away, because they refuse to do what is just. They will way of the guilty is crooked, but the conduct of the pure is upright. It is better to live in the corner of the housetop than in a house shared with quarrelsome wife. The soul of the wicked desires evil, his neighbor finds no mercy in his eyes. When a scoffer is punished, the simple becomes wise. When a wise man is instructed, he gains knowledge. The righteous one observes the house of the wicked. He throws the wicked down to ruin. Whoever closes his ear to the cry of the poor will himself call out and not be answered. A gift in secret averts anger, and a concealed bribe, strong wrath. When justice is done, it is a joy to the righteous, but terror to evildoers. One who wanders from the way of good sense will rest in the assembly of the dead. Whoever loves pleasure will be a poor man. He who loves wine and oil will not be rich. The wicked is a ransom for the righteous, and the trader for the upright. It is better to live in a desert land than with a quarrelsome and fretful one. Precious treasure and oil are in a wise man's dwelling, but a foolish man devours it. Whoever pursues righteousness and kindness will find life, righteousness, and honor. A wise man scales the city of the mighty, and brings down the stronghold in which they trust. Whoever keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. A scoffer gives the name of the arrogant haughty, and who acts with arrogant pride. The desire of the sluggard kills him, while his hands refuse to labor. All day long he craves and craves, but the righteous gives and does not hold back. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination, and how much more when he brings it with evil intent. A false witness will perish, but the word of the man who hears will endure. A wicked man puts on a bold face, but the upright gives law to his face. No wisdom, no understanding, no counsel can avail against the Lord. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but the victory belongs to the Lord. Psalm 28. To you, O Lord, I call, my rock, be not deaf to me, lest if you be silent to me, I become like those who go down to the pit. Hear the voice of my pleas for mercy, when I cry to you for help, when I lift up my hands toward your most holy sanctuary. Do not drag me off with the wicked, with the workers of evil, who speak peace with their neighbors, and while evil is in their hearts. And give them according to their work, and according to the evil of their deeds. Give to them according to the work of their hands. Render them their due reward, because they do not regard the works of the Lord, or the work of his hands. He will tear them down and build them up no more. Blessed be the Lord, for he has heard the voice of my pleas for mercy. The Lord is my strength and my shield. In him my heart trusts, and I am helped. My heart exalts, and with my song I give thanks to him. The Lord is the strength of his people. He is the saving refuge of his anointed. Go save your people and bless your heritage. Be their shepherd and carry them forever. Now the Son, I shall now do the Lord's prayer. Please bow your heads, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as you rest forgiven our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.